Take a look at this guy. His name is Stan, and he's Eminem's biggest fan. He is so obsessed, he writes him letter after letter. And when he doesn't get a response, Stan takes his pregnant wife for a ride and does this. It's a dark story, but good news, it's not a real one. Stan is a fictional character and one of the biggest Eminem songs of all time. But the bad news, there are people in the world who actually act like Stan. This isn't just fandom, it's an obsession.
And how fucking dare anyone out there make fun of Britney?
Up until a few decades ago, we didn't have a word for it. And somehow, that fictional character's name ended up in the dictionary. It's now in the official English Oxford Dictionary. You can say, I stan Beyonce, I stan Frank Ocean, or I'm just a stan. And that's kind of wild, because with Stan, Eminem didn't just create a rap masterpiece. He gave us a word that defined an era. An era of extreme admiration, celebrity culture, internet fandom, and obsession.
And some people use stan culture as their version of an escape of reality.
So the question is, how does one of rap's darkest characters end up in the dictionary? And more importantly, what does that say about us as a society? 25 years ago, this guy released one of the most critically acclaimed, controversial, and culture-shifting rap albums in hip-hop history, the Marshall Mathers LP. And this is a true story. I can still remember being a young boy, nervously going to a record store and seeing Eminem on the cover, sitting on the steps of his childhood home with a huge explicit sticker slapped on top of it. It was the first CD I ever bought with my own money, and when I saw that sticker, I knew this is probably something that I'm not supposed to listen to. But the album was an absolutely must-have. I mean, it was the album that had the real Slim Shady.
I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just them.
And the self-produced second single, The Way I Am.
'Cause I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am?
But the one song that stood out above the rest was his third single. Stan. In this legendary song, Eminem showcased his storytelling talents on another level. There are 4 verses in the song. Each of them came in the form of letters. The first 3 verses were letters from a crazy fan named Stanley Mitchell. And the last was Eminem's response back to him. It was a story about the dangers of fame and how fans can go too far.
Stanley, what are you doing to yourself?
Stan was unlike anything heard from an MC before. A creative take on rap storytelling.
Stan is one of the highest selling records of all time, to the point where the name of the song entered into common vernacular, the power of rap.
Not only would Stan go on to hit #1 on the charts, but the word Stan itself would take on a life of its own. And with that, Stan wasn't just a rap song anymore. It was now a symbol of extreme fandom.
Today we have stan armies collecting around a single figure or pop culture property, whether that's Arianators, Swifties, Beliebers, the Beehive, or the original Eminem fans.
Being an obsessed fan can turn into blind loyalty. And when that happens, people stop thinking for themselves. But that's not just about celebrities, it's happening with the news too. The stories we read every day are chosen by algorithms that keeps on feeding us what we want to read. It's easy to feel like you're informed, but in reality, you're just hearing the same voice over and over. And that's why I use Ground News. It's a website and an app that brings together thousands of articles from around the world and shows you how they're being reported across the political spectrum. Let me show you exactly how it works using a story that blew up last month. At Coachella, an Irish rap group called Kneecap talked publicly about what is happening in Gaza at the moment. The story exploded, and of course people had different opinions on this. On Ground News, you can see all the coverage in one place. On the side, you get a bias meter, so you can literally see which outlets are leaning left, right, or center, and how various media platforms are framing the same events differently. But my favorite feature is the blind spot feed. It shows stories that are heavily covered by one side but ignored by the other, so you can catch the news you might have missed and engage with perspectives that challenge your own worldview, which I think is extremely healthy. I genuinely use ground news, not because it's better news, but because it's a smarter way to read the news. And right now, they're offering all the great viewers of this channel 40% off discount to their Vantage plan. That will give you unlimited access to all of their features. Just use my link, ground.news/ASAPPark, or you can use the QR code on the screen, and I promise you, it will change the way you read and understand news. Also, as an added benefit, it supports the channel. Now, let's get back to the story. How was it that this 6-minute track Stan became such a cultural phenomenon? And what makes Stan still so memorable and resonant 25 years later? To understand that, we have to rewind to where it all began.
You stay in Detroit.
I used to stay right down the block.
Why you move?
Cause I rap now.
See Eminem?
Before the multi-platinum albums, before the controversies, before the awards, there was just a guy named Marshall Mathers, or as he called himself, Eminem.
We just like bet money and stuff. Like we used to battle. I used to battle like a lot of kids in the school, a lot of other rappers and stuff.
A relentlessly driven, up-and-coming MC trying to be heard in a genre that had yet truly to make room for someone who looked like him.
When I started being able to put songs together and I started like, figuring out like I might be almost as good as that rapper, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna keep going. And then I start.
Sure, there were some white hip-hop artists before Eminem. You had Beastie Boys, Third Base, Vanilla Ice, and even respected underground MCs like Cage and LP of Company Flow. But none had emerged from the trailer parks of Detroit to represent the lower-class Midwestern lifestyle with such a sharp hip-hop acumen like Eminem had.
That's why you acting differently. You ain't got no style, plus you lack delivery. Not to brag, I don't mean to boast. Look, my face is pale, but you look like you seen a ghost.
Eminem came up through the battle scene of Detroit, taking on everyone and anyone who he could.
I'm gonna tell you this for your own benefit.
Eventually, though, he would make his way out to Los Angeles to participate in the Rap Sheet Rap Olympics.
Would you come up missing like Snoop Dogg's police files?
I said, God damn, this motherfucker cold.
This dude is fucking incredible.
Scene off. Get a clean cloth to wipe this bloody video screen off. Flawless victory.
And I got all the way to the end in Rap Olympics. I lost. And this kid came up to me and was like, hey, man, can I get one of your tapes? And I think I probably just, here, whatever.
That tape found its way to the head of Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine. Interscope Records was one of the most influential labels in the world during the late 90s. They had Dr. Dre, Tupac, Marilyn Manson, Limp Bizkit. They basically had everyone. Around that time, Eminem, in a packed wake-up show radio studio, laid down a series of live verses that would blow the minds of the listeners. Here's a peek of that historic moment.
Met a retarded kid named Greg with a wooden leg. Snatched it off and beat him over the head with the peg. Go to bed with the keg. Wake up with the 40. Mixed it with Alka-Seltzer and Formula 40-40.
The same weekend of this freestyle, Dr. Dre ended up hearing Eminem's tape at Jimmy Iovine's house.
And I remember him picking up this cassette tape. He pops this in, and I was like, what the fuck, and who the fuck is that?
Holy shit, I'm in the Interscope office. Holy shit, this is Jimmy Iovine. Holy shit, Dr. Dre just walked in. Holy shit, I just shit myself.
Dre, you do a lot of recording here?
Yeah, hopefully.
From there, Dr. Dre and Eminem hit the studio, and within a minute of their first session, the song My Name Is started coming together. It wasn't long before Eminem went from being a buzzworthy underground MC to the biggest name in hip-hop.
While you've probably never heard of Eminem, there's no doubt your kids have.
He is the biggest single artist in America at this moment.
Eminem continued to work with his mentor, Dr. Dre, but he also started collaborating with other producers, one of which was this guy. DJ Mark, the 45 King, was a legendary, well-respected producer from the Bronx who had just produced the biggest hit of his career with the Brooklyn rapper Jay-Z. And around the same time, Mark discovered Dido's song, Thank You.
Tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. morning rain clouds up my window, and I can see it all.
DJ Mark was compelled to loop it up and use a sample of her haunting lyrics for the chorus.
I taped it. I took it downstairs in the basement. I looped it up, added the bass line, and
this beat would inspire Eminem to write Stan.
I drank too much last night, got bills to pay.
And what Dido was saying, like her words, like instantly put me there. Like your picture on my wall, like this is about an obsessed fan. That's all I kept thinking.
The song, while not being a true story, was inspired by the overly enthusiastic fans Eminem had been encountering since he was catapulted into the public eye the year before.
Do you get letters like this? Yeah, I get crazy letters like that. That's why I was saying, you know, I don't understand. Like, all this is crazy to me.
And it wasn't just a song. It was actually one of the first times a rapper used storytelling like that. But even more than that, Eminem started the conversation about artists dealing with fans who crossed the line. How fame can turn weird, tiring, and even dangerous. But here's the thing. This was just the beginning. Because what happened after Stan, the reactions, the ripple effects, and the unexpected places where it ended up, that's where it gets really interesting.
May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
I noticed that a lot of you who watch my videos are not yet subscribed. If you would do me the favor, hit the subscribe button. I promise that I will do my best to keep working hard and keep on making the best videos I can. Both the popularity of Eminem and the song Stan skyrocketed when Philip Atwell and Dr. Dre directed Stan's music video.
Eminem is in this video very little, and it's his song. The first 3 verses is not him. You know, of course it's him performing it, but he's playing a character, and that character is Stan.
Originally, Home Alone actor Macaulay Culkin was slated for the part of Stan, but in the end, it was actor Devon Sawa who could bring the character to life.
Stanley! Stanley!
Don't call me that!
It was a dramatic extended music video with Dido herself playing the part as the pregnant girlfriend. Fun fact, thanks to Stan, Dido's song Thank You and the album as a whole also gained massive mainstream success. Thank You rose to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US, and Dido's album went on to sell over 15 million copies by 2003, actually making it the second best-selling album in the UK from the 90s. And for Eminem, Stan became a huge moment in his career. He performed it alongside Elton John at the 2001 Grammy Awards, which itself was a huge moment because it shut down all the haters who had wrongfully called Eminem homophobic because of his misunderstood songwriting and lyrics.
Mr. Controversy, Eminem.
And he even walked away with the Best Rap Album Grammy.
First of all, I want to thank everybody who could look past the controversy or whatever and see the album for what it was, and also for what it isn't.
But with the love and success of the song Stan came something unexpected. In 2001, Nas used the word Stan in the lyrics of his scathing Jay-Z diss track, Ether, which became the biggest, most publicized rap battle since the tragic Biggie and Tupac feud. This was the first time the word Stan was used outside of Eminem's song, and the rest was history.
Brittany, we love you!
We love you, Brittany! You look
It's kind of crazy when you think about it, that it all started as just a name of a random guy in a song, and now it's in the dictionary. That just shows how Stan wasn't just a great song. Eminem really predicted the future of the modern fandom. He was warning us. He showed what happens when admiration turns into obsession. Today, people build their whole identities around who they follow. They defend them, fight for them, cancel them. It's intense, it's crazy, and it's exactly what Stan was about. Only now, it's not just one guy writing letters. It's millions of people every day, on every platform. Parasocial obsession, the blurred lines between admiration and ownership. And he was able to capture it in a 6-minute song before we even had a word for it. So yeah, Stan wasn't just ahead of its time. It might have defined the time we're living in now. But I've been trying to understand this. Why do some fans go so far? And what is it about certain artists that makes people latch on and defend them no matter what? I have to admit that I'm probably a stand too for smart, quirky, and innovative ideas. Like, for example, the one Radiohead had in 2007. They did something radical when they decided to simply bypass the record labels and release their album in rainbows online. And they even told their fans, pay whatever you want. And it wasn't just a cool stunt. It shifted the power dynamics in the music industry from the labels back to the artists. I actually did a whole piece on that story. You can check it out here. And it explains how we have gotten to the music industry that we have today. Anyways, thank you for watching. And remember the subscribe thing. And see you for the next one. Hugs and kisses.